Hello, my beautiful ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to our beautiful Soul of a Diamond. We are on episode 5, and I've got beautiful Cathy Nesbitt here all the way from Canada. I am going to ask her to introduce herself in 1 minute. I just quickly have a message for our beautiful group. We've got an amazing group, Diamond Beauties Forever, on Facebook. And Cathy is part of that amazing ladies. So, my beautiful ladies, if you do give us love and you send us messages, I will be showing it, but I will not have a shout out today. This is a different kind of show. This is a show where I highlight my beautiful Cathy. It's her story. She is part of this big initiative that I am bringing to life, Soul of a Diamond. She's going to be here. My beautiful Cathy, you're going to be here on a TV show. And part of your story is going to be in the Diamond Moment magazine with some pictures. And then it's going to go into a book compilation, and your chapter will be in there. And then my biggest dream as well is to come and do an documentary with you to tell your story. So this is a 2 year, in 2 year in the making of everything done, a project initiative. It is huge. It is big. I cannot wait. But we are starting today. We are starting today. My beautiful Cathy, can you please introduce yourself to us? And then I want to play a video I made for you. And then we will start hearing your story. Is that okay with you?
Sounds like a plan. Thank you, Sinette. All right, so I'm Cathy Nesbitt. My working title is Cathy Crawley Laughing Bean Queen, and it's really just simple solutions. I'm all about sustainability. Grew up in Toronto, and yeah, I'm looking forward to share some of my story with you.
Oh, wow, amazing. So, my beautiful Cathy, are you ready for me to share your video?
Ready?
Okay, here we go.
My name is Cathy Nesbitt. My working title is Cathy Crawley Laughing Bean Queen. I offer simple solutions for today's challenges: worms for indoor composting to amend the soil, sprouts for eating, grow your own, and laughter for overall health and wellness. I invite you to my free Tuesday Laughter Club. It's on Zoom, 30 minutes of super fun self-care. I incorporate tapping, brain gym, and other healing modalities. My goal is to help people get out of stress and into joy. Join me, won't you? Wow, you are so talented, Sana. Thank you. I love
No,
it.
it's my pleasure. I don't know what in the beginning happened to your music because it played very well when I was testing it. And now it's okay because it still came through. So I am very happy. So, my beautiful Cathy, I'm going to give it all over to you. I will sometimes bring us a little bit closer, and sometimes I will take us a little bit further away. I want to say thank you so much for honoring us with your beautiful story. And your story is so beautiful. It's so unique, just as you are. You are really one of a kind. And what for me is the most important is that maybe there's somebody that needs to hear your story today, that needs hope, because you have the resolution, you have the outcome. It's a better outcome. So maybe today you can touch somebody's heart, and they know that this is something I can also work on. So, my beautiful Cathy, all over to you.
Thank you, Sanat. Thank you for the opportunity to be a guest. I'm so thrilled to have met you, and I'm just in awe of the work that you're doing. It's so inspiring. And I do believe that you will be the most heart-centered brand in the world if you aren't already. If you aren't already, really.
Oh,
So
thank you.
beautiful. So I grew up in Toronto, Canada's largest city in Canada. And although I'm not really a large city girl, I have moved to a smaller town. um, I grew up in the 60s, and the message that I got as a woman was that there was 5 things that we could do as job. That was the message that I heard. 5, yes. So you could be secretary, teacher, nurse, stewardess, uh, waitress. I think that's 5. Of that limited list, I said, okay, like I didn't question why there was only kind of 5 things, but that was the message that I heard. I don't know if that's really what was being said. So I chose secretary, and I took all of those courses. I took shorthand. I took typing. It's called keyboarding today. Really handy skill. I'm glad I did that one. Business English. I took all of the courses so I could be an awesome secretary, and I was. I was a great secretary because I was a people pleaser. Again, young girls were told, be nice. I hope they're not still being told this, but be nice, do what you're told, don't rock the boat, don't cause waves, just like go along and be nice. That was our role as young girls. Don't get in the way of the boys, right? Because they have important work to do. We're just like here to support them, to bolster up the boys. That's what I understood. So I took all those courses. I was a great secretary. And as a people pleaser, what a great job. Like, tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I'll do it well, better than anybody else. I worked hard. I had a great work ethic, and it served me well. I really did. As a beautiful connector of people, I would start a job and then I would connect all the people. Management and the warehouse. I was the one that could talk to everybody. I never, and I still, this is a great gift, not caring about titles. I was
Yes.
able to approach everybody and, just greet them because I saw them as people, not by their title. So beautiful. Now, I think I was always an entrepreneur. I just didn't know. So I got bored easily. I needed variety. I would change jobs regularly. Almost annually, I changed jobs. And there was a lot of silly expressions that I never understood. Like, you need to have a job to get a job. Well, how do you get a job in the first place? Like, you need to have experience. How do you get experience if you don't have any?
Exactly, yeah.
Right. And then, like, as the thing of having a job to get a job. So, how do you go for interviews if you're in a job? Not being able to lie, it was really difficult. Like, you had to have a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment. Like, how many appointments? They're going to think there's something really wrong with me. So I would just quit my job without regard. I'd be like, okay, this job isn't serving me anymore. I'm gonna quit this job and I'll just get another one, because I did have a certain amount of maybe bravado or confidence that I was that good. Sure, of course somebody's gonna hire me. And I did, because what you ask for, what you believe in about yourself. So I believed, and that's what happened. The last 10 years of my secretarial life, I was there 20 years. And if there's any regrets, it would be, why did I take so long to get out of the office? But I guess I needed to serve for that amount of time. The last 10 years of my work life in the office, I was a temporary worker. They call it's a Kelly temporary agency. So I was a Kelly girl for 10 years. And that is, you go in when somebody's on holiday or mat leave or somebody's sick, they're going to be away. They need someone to fill in. Here's something about the temporary workspace. And I don't know if it's still like that, but at the time, the feeling that I got was, because I was temporary, people perceived that I wasn't able to get full-time work. So I wasn't as good a worker as somebody that could get full-time work, because obviously I couldn't get
Wow.
right. Whoa. So I often had jobs as receptionist or, little menial jobs. And I don't mean that that's menial. Reception is the first contact with a company, very important position. I wasn't given any really hard work. I wasn't really given a lot of work, like answer the phone and there you go. So I was getting my psychology degree. I was going to university at night and it was beautiful. What a great thing. I felt like I was getting paid to go to university since I didn't have work to do, right? I was writing my essays at my job while I was getting paid. I would answer the phone. If somebody arrived, I would greet them. I would do my job, but I was able to do my university work at my paid work. How fun. And so it was so beautiful. I was such a great worker. I got offered jobs at every single temporary job I ever worked at. But I didn't want a full-time. I didn't want to work at the same job because I needed the variety. So I would decline their generous offer of employment. In 2000, I graduated with my psychology degree. And I got a job at a group home working with challenged adults. And just a little story about that temporary job. My last temporary position was for a pharmaceutical company. I was working for one of the VPs. Her secretary was going away for a month. She did all the work. I think she was afraid I was going to take her job. She didn't even leave any filing, not even a stitch of filing. She didn't give me any passwords. So I spent my days talking to everyone. Do you have any work? Anything I can do? Like, I couldn't just sit there and look pretty, but look at me. Of course, I look pretty. And I said, my gosh, universe, how am I going to make my mark on this company if I don't have anything to do? How are they going to know how awesome I am? Be careful what you wish for. So this was Christmas time. Very busy corner in Toronto. And I arrived early on the 23rd, my last day of work before the Christmas break. And I was going in underground parking. And somehow when I was going down the ramp for the parking lot, when I got to the bottom, like you press a button at the top and the door opens. As I was going down, I didn't notice that the door wasn't open yet. And instead of hitting the brakes, I hit the gas and I ran right into the door. Oh my gosh. And I took the door off the hinge. I was like, oh my God. Like a proper, law abiding person, I drove in, I parked in my parking spot. I could have parked anywhere because nobody else could get in behind me. And I went to the security desk and I said to the gentleman, he's reading his paper, having his coffee, it's morning. And I said, excuse me. He looks up. Yes. I said, I just took out the door of the parking garage. And he kind of thought I was joking. He was like, oh, funny. And I said, take a look at your cameras, at your monitors. The cars are all lining up to try and get in. Nobody can get in now. Oh my gosh. I didn't make any money at that assignment. I had to pay. I lost all but I made a mark. Like, they're never going to forget me. The girl that disrupted the whole building. And we were on the 17th floor, and the executive that I was working for, she came up, arrived at 10 o'clock or whatever time she came into work. And she was like, grumble, somebody, whatever, and I'm like, okay, stop, it was me. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I did leave my mark. So really be careful about what you ask for. I wanted to make my mark, but by doing a great job, I wasn't specific enough. And I might have a couple more of those where you need to be careful about what you think, what you wish for. All right, so I get my psych degree, and actually at that job, so I loved everybody. It was a beautiful company to work for, and because I went around and asked for work, I really got connected with everyone. It was a month that I was there. When I was talking about my psych degree and I didn't know where I was going to get a job, I really wanted to work in long-term care. I did a lot of volunteer work with seniors and with people with dementia, and I loved it. Oh my gosh, I loved it so much, Sanat. I loved hearing the stories, the experience of the people, and just being with them and holding space. I loved it. even though I have all this energy and all this compassion and passion, I couldn't find a job in that industry. Now, there was a gentleman that worked at that company. His daughter had brain injury. And someone said to him, hey, don't you know anybody that's hiring that could help Cathy? And he said, I saw an ad this morning for a job at a company called New Leaf. And it's a group home with folks supporting people with special needs. And everybody that lives at New Leaf has 2 diagnoses. You have to be doubly blessed with mental illness to live there, right? So it's a really special place. I got a job. I kind of got in my head, right? Again, the thing about we think we know something, but it doesn't apply anywhere else. And I want to give another lesson here. So I thought, I don't have any experience working with special needs. And he said, but I had talked about my volunteer work with long-term care. He said, it's like working with folks with dementia, with seniors with dementia, but these are young people with more energy. And that was that was exactly what it was like. It was so beautiful. Anyway, I got a job there, and I loved it so much, Sanette. I thought, why did I spend so much time in the office? This was what I was put on earth to do. There's no judgment with people with special needs. If you respect them, they respect you. It's this feeling. They may be nonverbal, or they're in a wheelchair, they can't move, whatever. But if you treat them with respect and you smile and you're nice, they are going to reciprocate the same. And I loved it. I just really thought I had come home. Wow, so beautiful. This home had 10 homes and a farm, and they didn't compost. So let me just back up to fill in this piece of the story. In 1993, I bought a house, moved out of Toronto and into Bradford, small town, about an hour out of Toronto. And I loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm a small town girl. I just didn't like all the noise, all the traffic of the big city. And so this is a much quieter place. It's it's lovely. I love it. And that in 1993, a teacher friend asked me to look after her worm bin for the summer. She was going away, and she had the worms in her classroom, and she needed someone to look after them. I'm an avid gardener and composter, so I knew the value of the compost, but I didn't want worms in my house. Now, I come from a school where I think we should try things for ourselves and decide if we're going to like it or not. Don't let people tell you, oh, you won't like that, and then don't bother trying it, because we don't know. If we don't try something and someone just says, oh, no, I tried that, I didn't like it, you probably won't either. Stop it. Just go ahead. So I took on the challenge. I had a worm bin in my house in the basement for the summer. It was a disaster.
What?
Because I didn't want worms in my house. So I would open up the lid, throw the food in, close the lid, run upstairs and get away from the worms. However, I knew the value of the worm compost. I told my friend I would look after her worms, so I needed to keep the worms alive. That summer, I was a fruit fly farmer. Because if you don't manage your bin and you're just throwing the food in, fruit flies can be attracted. So some management is required. Anyway, that summer went by. I kept the worms alive. I was a fruit fly farmer. Oh my gosh. And for anybody wanting to do worm composting, don't worry, fruit flies are not a necessary component. They're just decomposers. They don't cause any disease for humans. They just bug us, right? Because we call them bugs. So they bug us. They're just doing their job. They can't help it. But no disease, right? They're actually breaking down the food for the worms. So they're a nice addition to the worm bin, but they're not a necessary component. So they're decomposing the food for the worms. The worms are like, hey, thanks, fruit flies. Good job. Thanks for helping us. But we're being bugged. So at the end of that summer, I wanted the black gold. I wanted the compost that the worms were making. I put on big gloves. It took me an hour. I dumped out the thing. It was awful. And I said, I'm never doing this again. I'm never going to do worm composting again. If I want the compost, I'll just buy it. Like there's so many worm farms around.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a lot.
Right. Okay. So that was 1993. Fast forward 2000, got the job at the group home. And what I realized, they had 10 homes and a farm. They had a vocational program at the farm, and they didn't compost. When I approached management about composting, they said, we don't need the fertilizer because we have cows. So they had fertilizer from the cow manure. And I said, wow. It was the first time that I realized people don't connect what they're doing. Here they have this, 10 homes, a farm, a lot of people. I think there was 80 clients at the time, 180 staff, 24/7 facility, a lot of food waste. And so they're just paying to get rid of it. If you create a lot of food waste, grocery stores, restaurants, universities, all kinds of places, they are creating a lot of food waste, and they need to get rid of it quickly because that stuff rots. It attracts fruit flies, rodents. Imagine if grocery stores didn't get rid of this material every day. Like there would be rodents running around the store, fruit flies. I mean, it would be a horrible experience. That's not the case because they pay a lot to get rid of it. So the greenhouse manager said, I said, well, why don't you compost? And they said, we don't need the compost because we have fertilizer. We have cows. So I said, wow, okay. When the greenhouse manager said, hey, well, why don't we do worm composting? And I got that feeling in the pit of my stomach, right? I said, never again. Here we are 7 years later. It's really interesting. Anyone listening, if you've ever done something and you're like, I'm never doing that again, careful, you might. Hey, right? Like I say, have you ever done anything that you're like, oh, you get all excited about it, but then you do it and it's like, ooh, that didn't work out. So you decide, okay, I tried it. I'm not going to do that. That's where I was with worms. And then when the greenhouse manager said vermicomposting again, I said, oh gosh, no. But then I was like, wait a minute, this is an institution. They're not getting worms tomorrow. They have to have meetings. They got to see if it's in the budget. Is it a good idea? Right? It's going to be, it could be, they might never do it. So I went home and I started to research, right? I already had my first introduction to it. So now I was primed. I already had an idea of what it was. When I started to research vermicomposting, oh, Sanette, I learned the magic of these red wiggler worms. So special worms that are used for worm composting. They eat half their weight per day in food scraps.
Wow.
Wow. And I do a lot of school workshops. I say to the kids, imagine if you ate half your weight per day. So if you weigh, I like, just for easy math, I would say if you weigh 40 pounds, you would need to eat a 20-pound bag of potatoes every day. What? Not possible. So that they're eating half their weight per day, it's huge. They're doing a great role. So they eat half their weight per day. They turn garbage, I have air quotes because nature doesn't create garbage, we do. They turn garbage into black gold so we can grow more nutrient food. In North America, we have destroyed our soil by doing monocropping, corn, wheat, soy, acres and acres. If you're growing acres and acres of one thing, you need to add a lot of chemicals because that's not how nature, like if we look at any forest or any natural garden, it's not just roses. It's not just one kind of tree. There's little bushes, there's, small things at the bottom. And so that's what we need to do. And so when so that was getting the worm. So I did research, discovered the magic of these beautiful creatures. They have 5 hearts each, 800 to 1,000 red wiggler worms in a pound. So they're cute little red worms. They're cute. That's 4,000 to 5,000 hearts in a pound of worms. It's a lot of love, a great Valentine's gift. Just know the receiver. And, it's really fascinating. Again, I'm kind of bouncing around a bit, but going back a bit, my parents divorced when I was 7, and my stepfather moved in right away. When we moved out of our house, my stepfather moved in. There was shenanigans going on before I didn't know. Okay, so my stepfather moved in. I loved him so much. Oh, he lived with us for 14 years. He was uh youngish. Young looking. He kind of looked like our big brother, my brother and I's big brother. He was such a gentle being. I really, oh, and so he died when he was 38, and I was 21. And I said, I'm not sure why, because he loved his job. I'm not sure why I connected his death with work. And I said, I'm never going to stay in a job that doesn't serve me, because we spend
Oh,
so much
wow.
time at work.
Wow.
Right? It was huge, one of those life lessons. And I don't know why I connected it, but it really served me well. That's why I worked all that time as a secretary and changed jobs, because I was like, oh, I'm bored now. Oh, I don't like all the back talking here, all the backstabbing. I don't like it. I'm out. Yeah, so I really am grateful for him, but I miss him so much, even though it was a really long time ago. Lots of lessons from him. Such a beautiful, gentle being that would help anybody. He would do anything for anybody. Okay, so I didn't stay in a job that didn't serve me. And then where was I? I kind of got lost in my little side story.
You you researched the compost because the home is now the greenhouse manager said we're gonna do worm farming.
Yes. Okay. So I discovered the magic. My fear of worms turned into, I was in love with them. I was like, wow, everybody needs this. And so I came home. I changed jobs. I left the group home with the 10 homes and the farm because I couldn't work with management. I loved the clients, but management was, they were up in their ivory tower making decisions. They probably were on the front line at some point. They probably started at the front line, but forgot as they moved up the ladder. They got into management and they forgot. So whenever there was an incident, they kind of you'd be called into the office, and it was like they would pull out the manual for operation, like, okay, page 750, paragraph 2C says you need to do this in this particular incident. And it's like, okay, like I'm dealing with a lot of people. When there's an incident, I need to just react. I'm just keeping myself safe. I'm keeping all the others safe and the person who is under duress. Anyway, I didn't like how they didn't keep the staff together. They wanted us to be at loggerheads so we would report the other staff.
Oh wow.
It was a toxic environment if you worked there, but if you lived there, they really treated the people well. I don't want to say bad things, because if you live there, they look after you very well.
Mm.
Okay, so I left the group home and I went to work at a school, and I was a freelance behavior management specialist. It sounds impressive, doesn't it?
It
Oh my
does.
gosh. Wow. It doesn't even fit on a business card. And freelance means that you don't have a safety net when something goes wrong,
Oh, okay.
right? You get paid a whack a dough. You get a very high hourly salary, but you don't have any benefits. If something happens, that's on you. And so something happened. I got kicked and I had one client. So one client in one room, 2 behavior management specialists, and one teacher for one student. Wow, it was a lot of resources, a lot of resources. And I kind of used to think, before this experience, I thought that everybody needed to be included. It's not possible. It's not possible for everybody to be included in the classroom. That's what I'll just end there with that piece. So I got injured at work. I got kicked in the finger. I'm doing this because it was my wedding finger, and I was wearing my wedding ring. I dislocated my finger with my wedding ring on, and I was cursing Rick that day because I wish he bought me a Cracker Jack ring that it could have, it was just plastic or something. Oh, it was so painful. Oh my
Wow.
gosh. Even just thinking about it, I'm holding my finger like, oh, I remember. So, I had to go to the hospital. I actually stopped at a mechanic on the way, just asking, can you cut this off? I just needed the ring cut off so my finger could swell, and all as well. It was really bad. They couldn't do it. They didn't have the cutter to do it. So I ended up anyway, all as well. So there I am. I'm super stressed. I have one client. I'm like, I'm not very effective social worker. I'm scared of my client, and they know, right? They know when you're afraid, just right, of course. It's energy. So I was really stressed. I thought, I can't work here anymore. I can't stay here. And I came home from work, and there was an ad in the paper, and it said, "Are you a woman?" Yes. "Do you have a business idea?" Yes. And it was a 6-month course to write a business plan. And this is a kind of interesting too, it was through the Women's Center of York Region. And that is an abuse center. I didn't know. I'm happily married, still with my first husband. I didn't know. And so people were looking at me like, oh, I was in the course, and they were kind of looking at me like, oh, poor you, or whatever. And it wasn't until I actually went to the location, because the course was off-site, that I realized, oh, that's why people think, oh, poor you. It's like, no, I came for the business program. It's just interesting how we think of something and then we put in the basket, right? We just
Yes.
imagine, we just assume
Yes.
things.
Yes.
So I took that course, and that was in 2000. No, 2001. I took the course, and then started my business in 2002. The universe is such a joker. So I started my business. Isn't this great? 2002, the landfill for the Greater Toronto Area closed. 6 million people in the Greater Toronto Area, largest city in Canada. And although Canada is a large country, we couldn't find a place to site a new landfill. And we started to export our garbage to the United States. 1,000 trucks a week. 1000. Wow. Oh my, talk about traffic congestion. Just with our garbage, making its way to the US. Our garbage needed a passport. And I do a lot of school workshops, and I say to the kids, shame on us as Canadians for shipping our garbage out of the country. Double shame on the Americans for accepting our garbage for cash. And I'm not talking about the people. I mean the governments, the people that make the decisions. Like, what were they thinking? It's not a sustainable solution. And there's a much more to that story, but I just thought, oh my gosh, look I've just started my business. I have a solution for the people, 6 million people in the Greater Toronto Area. Half live in condos, apartments, townhouses, without space to do outdoor composting. And I understand that not everybody that lives in a house does composting. That's fine. I wanted people to know that they had a solution, that I could help them. I didn't know that people didn't buy what they want, they buy what they need. No, they didn't buy what they need, they buy what they want.
Yes.
Right? And they didn't necessarily want worms in the house. They needed it, but they didn't want it. And in business, you're supposed to listen to your clients. I wasn't paying any attention because I was on purpose. I said, no, this is so important. You need it. La, 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 la. I wasn't listening that they weren't buying what I had, because I just felt like, no, I have to do this. I was being driven. I was being pushed from behind. I don't know from what an invisible force was driving me. Thank you very much. Thank you, God. Because here I had this beautiful life. It's so beautiful. Okay, so people didn't want what I had. I would have a table all over the place, and people were saying, ew, oh, ooh, no, oh, what do I do in the winter? No, they're indoor year round. And it doesn't smell. It's aerobic. They're not free range. They're not roaming around your house. They're in a container. They eat your food scraps and your paper, and they turn it into black gold. To me, it was a no-brainer. People don't buy solution.
Yes.
They don't buy solution. They buy what they want. They don't necessarily want solution. They just want what makes them feel good. So I was like, how am I going to do this? So I started to do school workshops, again, divinely guided to go and speak. I wasn't a speaker. I was a secretary for 20 years, although I did speak a lot. I was the gatekeeper. No, you can't speak to him. He's busy. It was always a him. Now it's different, thank goodness. Okay, so what happened? Where did I get to? I lost my way again,
You went
Suzanne.
to schools? You went to schools?
Nope. You're
You went,
so what? Oh,
you,
what happened? Okay, the landfill closed. Oh, so I started to do school workshops. Yes, and now I thought, oh, now I just have to wait 20 years for them to have buying power. Yay! I made it. 21 years. Yoop. See, be careful what you say. I feel like I'm completely divinely guided. It's so beautiful. Back to the universe being a jokester. So I started my worm business. I was on purpose, have this big solution for the world. For the world, like Toronto, yes, this can apply anywhere. How wonderful. And what happened? Oh, I lost my way again.
you were at a
It's such
school.
a
You were
compelling
at a
story. I get
school.
lost in my story. The school works, yeah, 75,000 students. And I've had the pleasure of, because I do all this exhibiting, 20 years of knowing that I've made an impact. We're making an impact every single day. I've met people that I went into their grade 3 class and they come up to me and they'll say, Cathy, you came into my grade 3 class, and because we had worms in the class, I went to university and now I'm an environmental lawyer, or I took environmental studies. Either because of you or because of worms. Like, that's a huge impact. It's
Wow.
massive. And we're making an impact every day. Not that I'm
Wow.
special. Everybody is making an impact. Why not make a positive one where
Yes.
you're, you know, lifting somebody up rather than judging them? Go and see, can I help you? What do you need? You look sad today, because you might just save their life. We don't know. Ah, so beautiful. So I've had an incredible journey for the past 20 years. Back to the universe being a joker. So 2002, the landfill closed and we started to export our garbage. Then the summer of 2002, there was a garbage strike in Toronto. No point in having a garbage strike in the winter, right? The garbage is frozen. It's not going to smell. They won't have as much fighting power. Toronto was, I don't know anymore, it was considered one of the world-class cities. People wanted to come here. It was so clean, and Canadians are friendly. We're passive aggressive, but that's okay. we fix things around the kitchen table. It's not a beautiful thing if you have piles of rotting garbage. So I was watching the news and people were lining up for hours to drop off their garbage. So I said, those people don't compost, because when you compost, it takes the stink out of garbage, right? Your recyclables don't smell, whatever, your paper doesn't smell. It's the organic matter, the food scraps. So I decided to take my worms on a road trip.
Wow.
I sent press releases to the Toronto news outlets. 5 minutes. Again, entrepreneurs, if you're listening, pay attention. I sent press releases to the Toronto outlets. 5 minutes after sending my press release, a reporter from the Toronto Star contacted me, the largest paper in Canada. What?
I've got
And he said,
goosebumps.
thank you. Thank you for your press release about composting, worm composting. I forgot about the apartment. I wrote an article last week about composting and forgot about the apartment dwellers. Can you come down after you go to the transfer station? Can you come to the Star? I want to interview you. I was like, yippee! Oh my gosh, how wonderful. So because I have a psych degree, I'm curious about people. I love finding out, why do people do what they do? So I went to the transfer station, and there was one I went to a couple of transfer stations just to see, because one was kind of boring. There wasn't much going on. And people were just driving up, dropping off the garbage. One, there was probably 80 to 100 picketers, a big long lineup of cars. And there was a private investigator who was hired by the town to video the labor dispute in case there was any skirmishes. And I happened to chat with him before I went to approach the union. And I had my company shirt on. It said Cathy's Crawley Composters. I was by myself. I'm not sure why Rick let me go alone, by the way. I still question that today because I could have potentially been in danger. I didn't know, right? I was
Yes.
oblivious. I was like, no, I'm going to go find out why people aren't composting, and maybe I can help them compost. So it was kind of fun and games. I'm sure it was a little distraction for the people waiting hours to drop off their garbage. And I would ask them a few questions. Do you compost? Why not? Would you if there was an incentive? And whatever. This was all fine. And then the picketers were yelling at me. They wanted me to get out of there. And I wasn't going anywhere. I was standing. I don't know. I was divinely guided. I had strength behind me. Power was with me that day. And I was facing the union because, when people are in a group, there's no individual. There's no one that's the one that's in charge. It's
Yes.
usually just the collective. They can shout what they want, do what they want because they're a group. And it's before all this surveillance where we were videoed everywhere, even though it was being videoed. Okay. They were shouting, and I said, I can be here. I was just on the road. I wasn't on their property. I was on the public road. And so I said, no, I can be here. And so they started talking to the people in the cars, and they said, if you take anything from this woman or you talk to this woman, we're not going to let you drop off your garbage. So they rolled up their
Wow.
window, right? They were like, oh, no, they had a purpose. They didn't care about
Wow.
me, the distraction anymore. They just wanted to drop off their garbage. Okay. So I was okay. And then the police came. Somebody called the police about me. And I didn't want to cause trouble. I don't like conflict. I really don't like conflict. I don't even like standing out. I don't know why I chose a worm business. It wasn't my choosing. It was chosen for me. I didn't know. Yeah. So instead of confronting the police, I left. I just quietly, I was like, today I would be arrested because that would be really great media. Right?
Yeah.
Young girl from Bradford disrupts the union. How beautiful. What a great headline. So I went down to the Toronto Star, was interviewed, had my first article in the Toronto Star, July 18th, 2002. I called up Rick. I called up Rick and I was like, yeah, I got an article in the Star. Oh, I'm so exciting. Woo, woo, woo. My 15 minutes of fame. And he said, probably something like, nice for you or good for you. I'm on my way home. I just got downsized. Oh, Sanette. Oh my gosh, I felt sick. I just thought, oh my gosh, we sell worms by the pound. Now we have no income. And I wasn't established, like people didn't know about it, and people are afraid of worms. And the whole thing was just really, really scary. I said, wow, universe. That's why I said, if that happened 6 months earlier, my business never would have been. I might not have had the courage
Wow.
to start a business. My partner was gainfully employed. So I was like, oh, won't this be fun? I'll have a little worm business. This will be a nice little hobby, is kind of what I was thinking when I started. And then, oh, this is what we do. Wow. Here we are 21 years later. I mean, I joke now and I say, couldn't you have just got downsized tomorrow so I could celebrate my article in the Star? Oh boy. Anyway, Rick decided that he would have a web business. Back in 2000, they were teaching high school students how to do websites. There was a lot of competition. So there he was with a ton of competition. And there I was, like the garbage haulers are my competition, right? They say, be careful who your competition is. Yeah. So it was kind of interesting. Rick is a lovely, beautiful man. He's not a marketer. He's not outgoing. He's not an extrovert. So he set up his website and he was like, okay, I'm ready for the people to arrive. It's like, no, come networking with me. I'm going to a networking event. You want to come with me? I did a ton of networking before, right? In person, because I love people and I love that. And anyway, so he didn't want to go networking. So I would say, hey, do you need a website? My husband's a web guy. So I was kind of flogging a whole bunch of things. And this went on for 10 years or 5 years, for 5 years. And I was like, I kind of was getting tired of it. And I thought, we need to we had a meeting and I said, we need to do something. Either you need to come out networking with me so you can get your own clients, or you need to get a job, or we need to merge full time and you need to come on with me. So he decided that he would join Cathy's Crawley Composters full
Oh,
time.
wow.
And so this business is supporting us full time. I mean, we've done other things. We have the Sprouter, we have the Laughter, and we have a bunch of things that we've done. Um, but it's supporting us full time. This is what we do. It's so beautiful. And I think it's a testament to the relationship that we have. We have done a lot of work, a lot of self work, a lot of reflection. We've done a lot of couple work where we've gone to things and doffed our demons. And I think it shows because when we have a conflict, we're able to come together and resolve it amicably instead of just shouting and nobody gets hurt and the emotion is too high.
Wow.
Back to 2002, my very first event that I was exhibiting. There was a gentleman there. It was a garden event. There was a gentleman there selling the sprouter that I now use, that I've been using all this time, and it was flying off the shelf. It looks like a little spaceship. It's a little plastic dome that looks that it's the size of a dinner plate, so it's fairly small and it can fit right in the cupboard. So I didn't know anything about sprouts or sprouting. And I said to him, what is that thing? And why are people buying that and not my worms? And he said it was a sprout grower. Told me all about sprouts. He is a professional ballroom dancer. He was 72 at the time.
Wow.
It's hard working these shows. So I was like, wow, that's so impressive. He was a gentleman in his white crisp shirt and his black vest, his ballroom dancing outfit. Not really, not completely. Anyway, sprouts are hydrating, alkalizing, regenerative, biogenic, and contain up to 100 times more digestive enzymes. From that moment on, when he told me that, I said, okay, I'm in. And I've been eating sprouts for 21 years. For 10 years, I was just a consumer. I was just eating the sprouts, growing them, eating them. And then in 2012, I saw him at an event. He said, why don't you sell the sprouter and the beans with your worm business? I thought, oh my gosh, why don't I? It's got to be easier than worms. Not so much, because people don't know about the value of the sprouts. And they're
Right.
like, I could just buy them. It's like, if you buy them, they're already going bad because it's super fresh food. They might be slimy a little bit. That's the bacteria. They might smell a bit. That's the bacteria. You don't want to put bad bacteria in your body. So grow them yourself. There's all kinds of systems. Mine's the best. You can grow them in jars. I mean, there's all kinds of ways. Just grow your own sprouts and eat them, because it's one way that we can add resilience and health. It boosts our immunity, so many things. So I just wanted to touch quickly on the Laughter, how that came about.
Yes, please do
2012,
that.
big year, right? I started selling the sprouter. And then one more person said, ooh, worms in the house. Although I'd heard it hundreds of times before, I felt it. I heard it. I was paying attention. And I said, universe, I don't know what you want. I don't know what to do. I really threw my hands up and I said, maybe I should get a job. And I think for the first 10 years, I was doing what I was supposed to do. So the angels were helping other people. They were helping the people that needed them. I didn't need them. And then when I said, I'm an action taker, I act really fast. So when I said, maybe I should doff my important mission and just get a job, the angels stopped what they were doing and they said, we got to throw her a lifeline. We got to all gather around this one because she's doing important work. And so let's throw her a lifeline. The very next day, I was introduced to laughter yoga at the very place that I wrote my business plan, the Women's
Wow.
Center for York Region. What? You can't make this stuff up, Sanette. You can't.
No.
And one of the speakers did a 5-minute introduction to laughter yoga. And I had never heard of it before. And I said, wow, laughter yoga. I don't even do yoga. I just jumped right to the fun yoga. And so laughter yoga is not doing yoga. It's not about fancy pants or poses. It's laughing as an exercise. The yoga part is the deep diaphragmatic breathing and the exercise, the practice of doing the laughter. And it is a practice. Like, we know meditation is good, but you don't meditate once and you're done. Deep breathing is good. You don't breathe once and then, okay, good, I'm done for life. Same with laughter. You got to laugh every day. When we're laughing, we get all the happy hormones, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins versus cortisol and adrenaline when we're stressed. We get to be in charge of our own pharma. How wonderful. So now
Amazing.
I got trained as a leader, as a teacher. I was appointed laughter ambassador in 2017 by the founder of Laughter Yoga. And now laughter has taken over my life in a great way. It's changed everything. I'm more resilient. I don't take it personal when people say, ooh, worms in the house. And back to Rick, he was kind of laughter hesitant for many years. I've been laughing since 2012. Every time I was doing Skype laughter before 2020, just audio. So I'd be working and laughing. It was laughter professionals, just practicing our craft. And then in 2020, when everything shut down, I took a deep dive into why laughter is the best medicine. And Rick would leave the room. Again, he would leave the room. And because it's high vibration energy, he wasn't there yet. And he would, and I was like, why is he leaving the room? And last November, I was doing a training and we were walking in the forest. And I said, I only have one student signed up for my training and they're paid. So I guess we're going ahead. And he turned to me and he said, maybe I'll take the training.
Wow.
So now Rick is a laughter yoga leader. We're like totally in this together. Worms, sprouts, laughter. We troop around together. Life, work balance, no such thing for us. It's our life. And it's a magical, sustainable life.
Amazing. My beautiful Cathy, I joined
You're
a
muted.
few of your. You cannot hear me? Okay.
I can't hear you.
I don't know why, but for me, I actually had joined a few of your sessions, and it was totally amazing. Can you hear me now, Cathy? Okay. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here. My beautiful ladies, my beautiful diamond beauties, I hope you loved the session. Cathy is amazing. Cathy is also our happiness expert, and she's truly, truly amazing. So I would love to end our session today with my song I have written. I still don't have somebody that will be singing it for us. I am going to play Dr. Michael's reading of my beautiful song. Here we go.
Moments of moving from here to there between the star and the moon's soft glare capture a glimpse of light so rare, radiant and shining, our hearts declare for the world to see in love's grand affair. Moments of our lives that are filled with laughter keep us going, hearts thrilled, capture the essence of who we are in the spirit of a child like a shooting star. Moments to share our true stories so bright, not only for the world to heal, take flight, but to remind us how amazing we are. Forever moving forward, a radiant star to create magic near and far. In the radiance of each heart's soft glow, we find the strength to carry on and grow. Shining bright, our love doth show in every moment, from dusk till dawn's soft flow. Radiant hearts, we shine so bright. In the diamond moments of love and light, together we rise, our spirits take flight in the beauty of each day and every night. With courage in our souls we stand tall, kindness in our hearts we heed the call to unity. We cherish one and all, and the radiant heart will never fall. So let us dance in the joy of now. In this radiant moment, we make our vow to share our stories, to learn and grow in the tapestry of life's radiant glow. Radiant hearts, we shine so bright. In the diamond moments of love and light, together we rise, our spirits take flight in the beauty of each day and every night. With courage in our soul.
Wow.
Wow.
I hope that you love that, my beautiful Cathy. Please, can you give us your last few seconds and then we will say goodbye?
Yeah, well, I would really just love to invite people to my Tuesday Laughter Club. Like, come and check it out, because laughter is the opposite of stress. Tuesday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern on Zoom, 30 minutes, super fun self-care. Thank you,
Wow.
Sanat.
Wow, amazing. My beautiful diamond beauties, I hope you enjoyed this session. And my beautiful viewers, thank you so much for watching this show. Next week, we will have a new Soul of a Diamond. I want to say to all of you, please look after yourself, smile often, and keep on dancing. Bye, everyone.